Today we're going to talk about finding better ways for B2B businesses to sell, because something has dramatically changed. Customers don't come to you anymore asking to look at a product or wanting to buy a product. They come to you with a set of problems. They're trying to solve a problem of which your product could be one solution of many that they could buy. So you have to engage with the customer and talk about their problems, what they need to get out of it and the value, and then match your products and services to that. And that's a very different way of selling.
There have been a huge number of changes in the time that I've been consulting in the IT industry. If you really want to know how bad it was in the early days, I used to think selling was talking. And it was only when I recruited my first ever salesperson who basically told me that selling was listening. Number one. Number two, with all the information that's now available out there, your customers are more informed about your product and your competitors than they ever used to be. And consequently, you start at a different part in the process. You're not educating the customer around your product. You're hopefully educating yourself about your customer.
So customers come to you no longer with a question to buy your product. They come to you with questions around a problem they have to solve, an outcome they want to deliver.
We believe the right way to start any conversation with a client is to identify with them the problem or the opportunity they wish to pursue. Because you need to basically relate to that if you are going to help the client in the way the client needs to be helped. So you've got to turn what you're offering from being a product towards a solution to an opportunity or a need that the client's expressed to you.
And that means in the customer's mind, they really do start to compare apples with pears. They're looking at your solution, or they could be looking at a completely different solution, and both are valid to them.
And frankly, you should never allow yourself to be compared apple to apple, because then you're going to be chosen on price. You have got to basically position your offering, and I'm not saying a product because a product is a predefined thing, but you've got to position your offering as the best solution to that customer's need, and you've got to make them want to buy from you if you want to be successful.
So in everything you've said there, what's really interesting is we've been talking about a way of selling, but actually we've been talking about the customer journey, matching the customer journey. How does that now impact what we would call the sales process that we try and build in a business? What is a sales process? Why don't we start there? What is a sales process?
Well, the phrase we've not used yet is buying process. And when I started to really get on top of selling, I understood that what I had to do was relate the customer buying process to my selling process. And if they were not synchronized, we would not have a successful outcome. So I used to spend a lot of my time understanding the buying process, the buying change levers, the buying pressures, so they could best relate to my customers' needs.
So for a sales manager, you really now need to start to understand the things that people are doing along that way, what the customer is doing and what the rep is doing to match that. You really need to have deep insight into those behaviours and what they're doing and when they're doing them.
And I'd go one stage further than that. My opening question quite often to a customer is, I'd be interested to know why you contacted us. And that can reveal an awful lot about how much homework they've already done. And then you can go on and ask them about what was the drive that caused them to contact you in the first place. So you can start to dig out what's driving them towards wanting to have a conversation with you.
So if I was to summarise that, it would be, in the B2B market, one of the innovations you need to look at is you need to tie the way you sell to the way the customer wants to buy. It's the customer journey that's important. And having understood that, you need deep insight into how your staff are performing, you need deep insight in how your reps are following the customer along that journey.
So there are three components really that we see in a modern sales environment. We have our people, we have our processes, and we have our technology. And we have to bring all of those three things together in a very consistent way. And it's not just about the sales guys. There's a set of other people who surround the sales process that need to be engaged in that process, need to be contributing, and need to be mindful of everything that is going on. So traditional sales methodologies may not cut it in this modern world. We're engaging with our customers in very different ways. We're having different levels of conversation. So it's important to have the consistency, the insight, and all of the right behavioral nudges throughout the process end to end in order to make sure that we are consistent and we can be successful, we can learn, and we can get even better as we become more successful ourselves.
So a modern fit B2B sales process needs to be built around a sales stack, not individuals, not the process, not the technology. It needs to bring all together.
Exactly. So everything needs to come together to get that complete sales stack. So everyone can be consistent, everyone can be doing exactly the same things at the right times, and providing the right level of insight so that we can progress and learn and raise the bar for everyone.
So the consequences really for sales managers is that they have to organise and manage things completely different. They have to be checking on essentially how the sales reps are landscaping their deals with their customers. They have to be making sure that they're prioritising the right deals in terms of timeframes, etc. And they're having to make sure that the value propositions are well understood and then explained to customers before you get to that stage of delivering value. And then it's not about just hitting the rep harder in order to close the deal. You have to be in a position whereby your proposition's clearly understood, that you don't use old tricks like discounting just to get the business. You have to be articulate in what you're presenting, and you have to make sure that the proposition stands up from a customer's perspective as well. I think that's where that's really changing for sales managers. They're not just necessarily pushing the sales reps to close deals, they're having to coach them through the whole stage of the process and having to line up against those three areas to make sure that their sales reps are following that process properly. And that's really how sales managers are becoming coaches these days. And that's the evolution that we've seen in the sales process and in salespeople's capabilities, I'd say, in the last 15 to 20 years.
So what we've heard is you need to build a sales process that matches your customer's buying journey. You need to construct a sales stack of tools that pulls together your people, your process, and the sales technology you use. And last of all, and most important, you need to turn your first level sales managers into coaches. These three are used to build a modern B2B sales process.